Hello again. This is Harriet Chandler, the state senator for the 1st Worcester District, and this is Beacon Hill Chat, your weekly show that talks about interesting things that very interesting people are doing in our own community. And today, like all the other programs we have two interesting people. Two people who are doing something that's unique and something that you need to know about. And we're very happy today to have as our guests Yvette Dyson, who's the executive director of Worcester Common Ground, which is a community development corporation, a CDC, and we have Eddie Jimenez, yes, who is the Eddie of Eddie's Super Plaza, or Eddie's Market, and he's a member of Worcester's Common Ground Board of Directors. So you represent a client, and you represent the CDC as well. So we have a wonderful combination here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
So let me tell my viewers that this Beacon Hill Chat episode will focus on the work that Worcester Common Ground does to help the community. And in many ways, Worcester Common Ground is very typical of the work of a CDC. So when you hear the story about Worcester Common Ground, you're going to hear the story about the typical, more or less, typical CDC. I'm sure they think they are the best, and they may well be, but their location, and I guess that's important. Why don't we start by saying, where is Worcester Common Ground, and who do you represent?
So our office is located at 5 Piedmont Street. Mm-hmm. We built the building in 2010. It not only houses our headquarters, but we have 12 one-bedroom units above and really incredible tenants. But we're a little bit removed from our neighborhood by a few blocks.
Your neighborhood is where?
It's the Piedmont neighborhood. So we serve 3 census tracts, which is pretty much the backside of Main Street, all the way over to Elm Park, mm-hmm, borders Park Ave, and then part of May Street as well. So it's a pretty diverse population. It's the most, it's the poorest of the city for the most part.
It is.
It is. But the housing stock is in need of a lot of work. And over the past 15 years that I've been with Worcester Common Ground, we've really worked to improve different areas and masses so that it's not scattered, but there's high impact. So we've created just over 250 units, wow, of rental property, and included in that is 25 first-time homeownerships. And they also have units that they rent and earn income from to be able to pay their mortgage and taxes.
But I think for the viewer here, the important issue is that you represent, your work is on what is considered the affluent West Side. And that's really not true. It is, but that we have some social and economic problem areas, and you've been working with them for about 15 years?
Yes, myself. The organization is 26 years old.
Okay.
Started as a grassroots type of organization, and then we became incorporated in 1988 and officially a CDC. So yeah, we have problems with the school systems. We have problems with youth getting work. We have problems with our residents earning enough money at the wages that they're earning to be able to pay rent. and sustain a decent lifestyle. So our whole goal is to create affordable housing that's healthy housing so that people can live more prosperous lives.
That is your mission. You're focused on housing, affordable housing.
Well, that and community engagement.
And community engagement, all
Yeah.
right. And how did you personally get involved in Worcester Common Ground?
I answered a newspaper ad.
Really? Had you done anything like this before?
No, in my previous life, I built million-dollar houses and worked with a private developer, and probably completely against the grain of who I am now. So I answered this ad because I was unemployed at the time, finishing up architecture school, and had an interview and was just amazed at the type of work that I would have the opportunity to be able to do.
And we're excited by it, and became
Oh,
very
I was
passionate.
so excited. I'm incredibly passionate about it, true. So, yeah, I always talk about this first day when I was sent to 133 Chandler Street to view a building and figure out what the cost of the rehab would be. And I went inside and I was by myself, and there was people's photo albums and the outline of a dead body, and I thought, oh my God, what is this?
Wow.
So
Wow.
I really wasn't sure what I was getting into, but to know that you could create incredible housing from that experience was a beautiful thing.
And Eddie, how did you get involved?
Well, first I'm originally from New York, and my parents and I moved to Worcester. We had an opportunity to buy a store and a building. When we bought the store in 2001,
Where was this?
at 300 Pleasant Street.
Okay, so you're right in her neighborhood now.
Yes, yes.
Had you ever run a store before?
My father ran a store in New York City, and I always helped him out. I dropped out of school and I went help them save their investment. While together we ran the store, we did well, but it was in New York, and it was very tough. And at that time, it was a kind of an exodus from New York. Everybody was leaving, either going to Massachusetts, going to the South, or just leaving. So we went ahead of the curve and left also, and came to Worcester.
And I guess I'm curious to know, why Worcester?
At that time, we had family members living here, which were the Santiagos.
Okay. So you're related to
Yes,
Eddie Santiago.
Eddie Santiago and Roberto and
Okay.
Luis. Yes.
And you're Dominican by your heritage is
My
Dominican.
heritage is Dominican. Yes.
Okay. But you were born in this country.
Born proud.
And you've been in Massachusetts for
now 13, 14
years.
Yes.
So your story becomes very interesting because obviously you came to Worcester, you had to make your family had to make a living, and you found a building. Were you able to buy the building yourself, or did you need some help?
To buy the building, we had at that time it was very hard because you needed income.
Right, you didn't have anything like that.
Exactly, and also we were new to the area, so we had the banks weren't lending at that time. You had to have at least 2 years living in Massachusetts
Yeah.
or before.
You had none of that.
Exactly. Eventually, we did buy the building. I got financing from my brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, everyone. The whole family came together and chipped in and helped me get started and move on forward.
That's fantastic. So how did you get involved with Common Ground?
Once we purchased the building needed a lot of work. The building was previously burnt down, and all we could save was the bottom of the store structure, the first floor. So eventually, the building would collapse on us, or it was.
So you needed some help in doing the repairs.
Yes.
That were absolutely essential to you.
Yes.
And you'd already used up all the money that your family had,
Right.
to the savings of everybody. So what did you do?
Driving around the city, you would see all these burnt down buildings or all these abandoned properties, and with a Worcester Common Ground logo. and they were rebuilding and making it better. So I went over there to them and I asked them if we could work together to save my building or save the building in order for us to stay there and protect the family investment.
Now, you own two buildings that are almost side by side. I mean, they're next door to each other, kind of. One is what used to be a market years ago,
Right.
and the other used to be a drugstore years
Right.
ago, across the street from it, but on the same side of the street. Am I correct? West Side Pharmacy was there,
West Side Pharmacy was previously where the store was
Right.
located.
and that's the building that you started with. That's the building that
Correct.
had a fire and that. All right.
Correct.
So
Eventually, the thermal engineering building, they moved they downsized,
Yeah.
and they started doing it from their home. So they put their building up for sale, and eventually
that's the one you bought.
right.
We're not going to get to the second one yet because
Okay.
I want to finish with the first. So you found Yvette and you
Yes.
found the CDC. What kind of help did they give you? Or let me ask you, what kind of help are you able to give?
I don't think we were sure at first. We had never done a partnership. And when it comes to financing those things, it can be very technical. And I certainly had not done the financing for one of those. But fortunately, we were able to work with Mass Housing Partnership and folks at the city and state level.
Yeah.
And bring this together and figure out how we could own the building in a 50-50 partnership.
And you do own the building in a 50-50 partnership?
Yes.
Yes.
But you had bought it totally yourself originally. And to get the renovations, you went to the common ground.
Yes.
And then it became a partnership. Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about the partnership. What kind of a partnership is this for
It's
you?
an awesome partnership.
Okay. I mean, this is your star, one of your stars in terms of your clients.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big star.
Basically, you need a landlord that's there. When I'm there, I try to at least not have people hanging out in the corners, doing stuff they're not supposed to do. The tenants, they have someone to talk to if something happens. We have people I take care of almost everything, the garbage.
You do everything?
Almost everything.
But
in the
that
building.
brings us to another point that I think Yvette mentioned to me earlier, which was it's really a problem when you have absentee landlords.
Yes.
It makes it very difficult and very dangerous for a whole neighborhood if there's absentee landlord, because you have nobody to do all these things. Nobody's watching.
Right.
Nobody takes the personal interest that an owner takes. Would you do this with an absentee landlord? Would you get into a partnership with an absentee landlord?
I think that somewhat goes against the grain of the whole neighborhood
Okay.
creation. So we want to have folks who want to start small businesses, who live in the neighborhood.
That's important.
And build the economic wealth of the people who are there.
Yep.
And I think it does create for a greater success when, it's perfect with Eddie. I mean, we have a presence. We have our facilities manager. He's
Right.
always on the units up above, and a property manager who works with all of the residents. But Eddie is the eyes, and he knows what's going on
All the time.
all the time.
Okay. So it worked. That this relationship worked between, and what would you say? Housing is one of our major issues and major problems here. What is the biggest problem of facing housing in Worcester?
I think it's more affordable housing.
It's affordable, but what about the absentee piece? The absentee landlord. We have a lot of them.
Yes.
We have a lot of that within our neighborhood.
Yes.
And many of those buildings fall to blight. The equity is taken out of them.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, they're in tax title and boarded up.
Right. And then they become vandalized.
Right.
And then it is a blight. It is a blight on not just the neighborhood, but the whole city. And that's a terrible thing. You're also on a main corridor that goes right through the city. And people pass it and they think, oh, I wouldn't want to live in this city. Look at it. So
They don't say that as much now.
they don't say that. Well, if what I'm saying is, if that were allowed to happen, the next step would be people saying, I don't want to live here.
Right.
But you haven't allowed that to happen. Now, you've done pretty well with store number 1.
Yes.
The one in the old pharmacy that you have the 13 places, the 13 apartments upstairs.
Actually, it's 5 units.
5 units, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. So at some time, you decided that you liked it, that you were doing well enough, and you took the next step, didn't you? You bought another one.
Oh no, I haven't. I'm looking forward to buying another one, but not just yet.
All
I'm
right.
still trying.
You're still trying.
Yes.
Okay, so but you know how to do this business pretty well now.
Yes. The thing is, right now, it's getting tougher. The market is tougher. The food prices every day.
Oh, they've gone so high.
It's ridiculous, and you buy something today for $1, and then you sell it for, let's say, $1.20, and now it costs you $1.50 to buy the same product to restock the shelf.
And people don't understand that. All they
Yes.
see are these high prices, and they think you're gouging them. And I mean, what do they go to any grocery store today? You see the same story. Without your store, it would have been a food desert in an area that used the market across the street, which used to be a wonder market. I've been here long enough to remember when it was a wonder market. And it was the market. I mean, I used to shop there. I don't live that far away. But without your market, there is no place to shop. They'd have to go, I guess, to Price Chopper, which is blocks and blocks away. And if you don't have transportation, it's a long way. It's a long way to go.
Yeah.
So you become the important food source.
Right.
Now, your community, your CDC, is starting to do something that other CDCs are doing too, which is gardens, community gardens. Can you talk a little bit about the community garden and how that fits into this food desert kind of feeling, and what that adds to the people who live in your census tract?
Yeah, sure. So we work with the city of Worcester, and we, search for these small pockets that are undevelopable. They don't meet the minimum requirements for building a building on it. And so we purchase them, and we work in partnership with Lutheran Social Services, Regional Environmental Council. We've called them the EAT Centers. Which,
the EAT? E-A-T?
EAT.
Wow.
Which stands for the Educational Agricultural Training.
That's a great term.
Yeah, I don't
That's
even
a
know
great
who
acronym.
coined it, but it
I
is
like
very
it.
cool.
I like it.
And so we work, the Lutheran Social Services gathers immigrants that they're serving,
Right.
who come with these incredible farming skills. And Regional Environmental Council has a whole level of folks that are doing what they do best. Worcester Common Ground does not know how to farm, but we know how to create the canvas for the farmers. So we purchase the land, we buy the fences, we work with the city to install water, and then these folks just take over, as well as neighbors. So we have 4 EAT centers.
And where are they?
They are at 7 to 9 Oriad Place. There's 2 there, 2 lots.
So you go that far away from...
It was an opportunity.
Okay.
And Stone Soup, who backs
Okay.
up to these gardens,
Right.
they also have a plot there.
Okay.
So it's really made a beautiful piece
That's wonderful.
in that back area. And then 8 Preston Street, and where we have a couple of first-time home ownerships. And our latest one is at Jakes Ave, 7 to 9 Jakes Ave, which is a combination of an urban orchard.
And fruit,
and-
and
yeah,
vegetables.
and vegetables.
I was there at the dedication of that, and
We still have a lot of work to do there, but the
you've said
orchard's
it,
in.
yeah, the orchard is in. What do you intend to do with the produce that is going to come from that?
Well, we're new to this.
Yeah.
It's only been operating for the last few years. The farmers feed their families, and then they take whatever is left over to market. So there are mobile markets in the neighborhood, as well as an open market at the YMCA and on Main Street.
What about Eddie? Would you sell some of these products?
I would love to sell some of this.
Well, you know, he has to drive to Chelsea to get his vegetables, so...
So you would love to do that?
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
that ever going to be possible?
It can. We can work.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a great
I think,
idea.
you know, honestly, I don't think I ever thought about it so much.
Really? But
Yeah.
think about it. I mean, here he is
I know.
saying, I'd love to do it, and you'd be doing such a service for the people of
But before
the,
it was
the
just
neighborhood.
one or two gardens, but now that there are more gardens,
Yeah.
it's more feasible.
Yeah, now that we're expanding.
That's wonderful. That really is wonderful.
It would be more wonderful if we had a funding stream for it, but
Well,
We're working on
what
that.
are you using right now to fund
actually,
these?
we've had some really gracious donations through grants that we've written. So TJX Corporation
Really?
was really wonderful. Worcester Community Foundation helped us with some of it.
And you had a bank, if I'm not
Eastern
mistaken.
Bank, yes. So
I'm trying to remember who was at that.
Oh, and TD Bank North,
TD
they
right.
did the whole
Jake's Avenue.
Jake's Ave. So we have had some.
You've
great-
done well. You've done
We've
very,
been
very
very
well,
fortunate.
considering, you know, that it's not an easy thing to do. So, what's next for you, Eddie? You serve on the board of directors. What would the message be that you would like to have people hear from you?
I don't know. I just would like to give back to the community. I see the kids, and I see the whole community. It needs support. It needs help.
So you've made it, and you're turning around now and saying, I want to help somebody else because I was helped.
Yes.
And that is giving back in the very best sense of the word. Do you see young people, or not so young people, who are interested in taking that help and going to the next level? Are you seeing it? Do you have some leadership coming?
I think we are going to start doing a better job of cultivating our youth. We're
Good
in the
point.
process of hiring a community organizer. And I think it's going to be really helpful to have someone who's out there in the neighborhood and, you know, trying to bring these kids in and to teach them a better way of life, and to want to volunteer and get involved in the things that we do so that they're happy about their neighborhood and want to live in their neighborhood, and hopefully
I just think also by leading by example, working.
I think that's very true.
If they see someone working, they see someone, instead of seeing, they idolize the street life, which is going to get you nowhere.
And you really have an issue of that corner, of making sure that that corner isn't a place where people congregate,
Right.
that scare people from entering your market.
yeah.
I mean, that's got to be an ongoing issue that you have, because you're in a busy location. It's a wonderful location for a market, but with good things, with benefits, there's some challenges involved as well, and you're dealing with that.
Well, I've been in Worcester now for the past 13, 14 years, and I've gained the respect of the children or the hoodlums or their whatever. And they see that I work every day. I try to feed my family. I work 7 days, 14, 15 hours every day.
So you're a role model too.
So and they see what I'm about.
And that's the very best way. You become the face of a neighborhood, and people probably try to emulate you, try to be like you, and it's a pretty straightforward way of doing it. Tell me, if some of these viewers who live in the neighborhood see this and would say, I'd like to get involved, how do they do that? How do they get involved with Common Ground?
We're right there. They can just come in the door.
So they can go to
Yeah,
5?
Piedmont Street. We have a website that's very active.
And what is your website?
CDC.org.
Okay.
So Worcester Common Ground,
Right.
Community Development Corporation.
And your telephone number?
It's 508-754-0908.
Okay. So that would be, and do you encourage volunteers?
Oh, absolutely. We want to create an event this summer, towards the end of the summer, bringing folks together. We're looking to do a video.
Oh, how nice.
And it's part of our fundraising strategy. So we have this rapper coming in,
Really?
and he's a local
That's great.
guy in the neighborhood. So yeah, we want to do a whole video and include the neighborhood, and I need volunteers.
So how do they get in touch with you? Why don't you repeat it again?
So just come in the door to Worcester Common Ground at 5 Piedmont Street. Give us a call, 508-754-0908, or check out our website, www.wccdc.org.
And the best way that people can support your effort is by joining you.
Yes.
Are you open to new board members?
We
yeah?
are, and I'm in search. I want to get more residents involved in our board.
Do they have to be? They should be residents of your area, or does it matter?
Well, we have our bylaws say specific things, but I'm happy to have more residents than not.
Okay.
I think it makes for a stronger board.
Right.
And I think it engages our neighborhood more. So yeah, we're happy to take on more people.
And we always need new ideas.
That's
Yes.
great. How long have you been on the board?
I've been on the board now for about 1.5 years now.
And so you've gone from being someone who seeks the help of Common Ground to being one of those people who helps make the decisions about the future of Common Ground. And that's fabulous. I want to thank you for coming on. And I want to say that Eddie's story can be your story to the viewers, because quite frankly, Eddie came here with not very much in the way of assets, and he had a dream and an idea, and he turned to Common Ground for help, and they were there, and they've partnered with you. And he's worked hard, and he's made a difference, not just in his own family, but in the community at large. And we're very proud of you, as I'm sure Common Ground is very proud of you.
Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing your story with us, and thank you for joining us today. And I want to thank you for being with us and viewing this story. And you know how to get in touch with Eddie. You can go to Eddie's Market. That's the first way to get in touch with him.
At 300 Pleasant Street.
300 Pleasant Street. And you can get in touch with Yvonne by calling her, stepping into 5
5
Piedmont Street, or using her email. So you've got all those numbers, and we just want to say thank you again. See you again next week. This is Senator Harriet Chandler saying goodbye for now. See you again next week.